So I thought, given we were just round the corner from the British Museum, I would take a leaf out of the director's book and try and tell the story of my time in the Society through some objects. And Jeremy's now getting worried because he knows the object I've just added to the collection. But funnily enough, my story starts in 1975, and it actually starts with this. And it might seem slightly strange. This is my godfather's Bible. And my godfather was a chap called Joseph Walter Pearson, and he was presented with this Bible on the occasion of his ordination in 1968. But it came into my hands in 1975 when he died, and his widow gave to me his Bible, which I treasure, and a book token. And a little note with the book token. It said, buy something substantial, you know, something like The Lord of the Rings. And this is the remains of the copy of the Fellowship of the Ring that I bought with that book token in 1975. It has been well thumbed. I'm afraid the map's fallen out at the back. It's been copied too many times for making quiz questions. So that was kind of how I got into Tolkien. I mean, like everybody here, I got this book and this book changed my life. But it didn't change my life that much then. But the next step in the changing of my life was 1977. I went to school and I met this young man. He was two weeks older than me, so not that young. Julian Bradfield. And some of you will know Julian, esteemed Tolkien linguist, professor of computing science in Edinburgh and occasional attender at Tolkien Society events. But Julian was already a member of the Society, aged not very much, 12, 13. But during the time that we were at school together, he introduced me to the J.R.R. Smile. The J.R.R. Smile was in Kent, as you will work out it has to be, being the southeastern corner of Numenor. And through that I met some good influences, such as Bryn Dunsire. I met some perhaps slightly less good influences, such as Perry Prynne. Some of you will remember Perry. But that kind of got me engaged, firstly, in sort of smiledom. So Julian and I both left school in 1982. Julian went straight to Cambridge. I followed a year later. And some of you may recall that the 1983 AGM was in Cambridge. It was famous. It was the only AGM ever held in a teetotal venue. And those who are enjoying my tankard will notice that it is at the moment a teetotal tankard. We'll fix that later. But Julian suggested that I might like to come and meet the Society and join the Society and sign up and come to the AGM. So I said, well, that's a good idea. I'll send off my membership fee and I'll send off my registration fee and I'll go to the Society. As some of you will remember that around about the early 80s, the membership secretary maybe wasn't quite as efficient as our current one. Always at processing memberships within, well, a year or two. So I got to my first AGM in Cambridge, and I wasn't actually a member, but they let me off, and about 6 months later Leicester sorted it out, and all was well. In October that year I went up to Cambridge, joined the CTS, and got more and more involved. The CTS, sorry, is the Cambridge Tolkien Society. I always teach people at work that if I use an acronym, they have to stop me and tell me what it means, or I have to tell them what it means. So I joined the Cambridge Tolkien Society and kind of got involved in more and more stuff over time. So from there, that was really, I suppose, where my proper Tolkien Society involvement began. And I kind of categorise what the Tolkien Society means to me in three ways. So firstly, it's about sort of things that I've done in official capacities. Both for the Tolkien Society and the Cambridge Tolkien Society. So I learned how to be a treasurer when the first treasurer of the Cambridge Tolkien Society went AWOL at zero notice, and somebody said, can somebody do maths? And I guess so. Don't know why the mathematicians didn't do it, except that they don't do numbers in Cambridge maths. And then I took over being editor of the Cambridge Tolkien Society magazine, and then somebody said, well, I guess there's a bit of a vacancy coming up for the Amon Hen. And so I became Amon Hen editor and did that for quite a few years, and I'm proud to present my next object, which is Amon Hen 100, which was the first and until recently the only colour cover. That was the end of my reign as Amon Hen editor, in the days when 2 years was thought to be a long time rather than 20, so many congratulations to Andrew on that. I went on to be treasurer, and I failed to build up a £145,000 cushion. I did have fun trying to explain to Ricky Bream how deferred income works. Never really succeeded in that. Don't know whether you ever quite managed that one, Annie, but how deferred income works, Annie.
Yes, I know how it works.
I know you know. Annie, I know you know how it works, but Ricky never did.
I don't think I ever tried.
Anyway, by the sounds of it.
I did try, I didn't succeed. But my treasurer's object is this waistcoat, which was made for me on my special commission to celebrate Smaug's waistcoat from lying on the heap of treasure after I retired as treasurer. Very early on I got involved in the Oxenroot subcommittee, and that of course has stretched on for many years, doing lighting, doing Nigel, doing masquerades and so on and so forth. From an organising point of view, the Green Badge for the Masquerade from Tolkien 2005 celebrates that event. So those are kind of some of the things that I've done, as I say, as an organiser, as a member of the Society. But the Society is much more than organising things, and I felt the second category was very much around memories. And I could go on all night, but do any of you ever have the experience that I have? You go to work and you're amongst a whole lot of really senior, important people, and they say, we're going to have an icebreaker. And the icebreaker is you explain who you are, what you do, and something strange about yourself. Now, do any of the rest of you feel that you don't struggle finding something strange? It's something to do with being members of the Society. So my only problem is choosing from the long list.
Things that aren't strange.
Choosing from the long list of things as to what I could talk about. But just jotting down a few that I thought I would mention. We hosted one of the very early seminars in Cambridge. We organised a punt trip. We had 5 punts wide. Now a 5 punt wide raft is hard to stop when you turn the corner and find the university water polo match going on in the middle in front of you. One of the first Cambridge Tolkien Society Christmas dinners was held at Julian's flat. None of us had ever cooked a turkey before. We read the instructions. Place the turkey on its back. Which is the back of a turkey? One way to find out, you flap its wings and get the legs downwards. There is still a memory in my mind of Julian and the turkey. On another memorable evening in Cambridge, we decided late at night that we had to do something different, and that we would lay siege to Mount Fitchett Castle. Now, any of you who've ever been to Mount Fitchett Castle, it's a fake wooden Norman castle down near Stansted Airport. It's on the site of a proper castle, but what's there is not real. But we did go and lay siege to it. We had very few weapons between us. We did find a set of antlers. So one of Ewan Morris, who was the chairman of the Cambridge Tolkien Society about that time, did go dressed as Hugin the Hunter, because why wouldn't you? So that was kind of memorable. One of the photos that keeps coming up in my photo album that I really love is one from the Leicester AGM from 1980 something, not very big, when we went on an outing to Foxton Locks, and there's a photo of me. Mike's nodding. 84, thank you, Charles. There's a photo of me with a number of people who were here, proving that I was once young and had hair. Honest. But of course,
stop gloating.
When I think about memories, then there is a memory which probably isn't quite as strong as it should be in my mind. But it's strongly in my mind, but not quite, anyway. Saturday 28th of January 1984, Emmanuel College Bar, when I met a young lady in a white dress. Now my best efforts failed to find the white dress. I don't know whether we've still got it.
I think we have.
You think we have?
I think we have.
But I couldn't find the white dress, but I did instead find the blue dress that she wore at Oxenmoot the following year. So I thought that definitely needed to be my collection of objects for this evening. Now, for those who feel that ladies change shape over the course of many years, will be pleased to know that Maggie also wore this dress last weekend and still looks fantastic in it. So.
Stop, Ryan.
So of course meeting Maggie and all the family stuff, and June's talked about that, and actually I'm beginning to feel really sorry for whoever's doing this thing fifth, because anyway, there we go. But that led on from one thing to another, and one of the things it led on to was probably one of those things that's on my list of strange things what I have done, because Maggie did a wonderful poem at the second Oxenmoot I was at, and as we drove home,
Sean's not going to believe this.
she did. It was fantastic. Poetry at Oxenmoot, Sean. Okay. As we drove home, we said, "What can we do to entertain people? That we can do something together." And she said, "You can't do poems, and you definitely can't sing." And somehow this mad idea came that we could dance. Now, let's be honest. She'd already said I couldn't recite poetry and I couldn't sing, and what gave her the idea that I could dance? I have no idea. But one thing led to another, and for 3 years we danced at Oxenmoot. And just to prove the point, that is part of Morgoth's costume from the Tales of Beren and Luthien that we did. So that was the bit that I could find most quickly.
And did you still fit it?
I'm sure I fit what became affectionately known as the seal suit. Some of the other bits, actually Morgoth probably is okay. Beren I don't think I fit quite, but I'm working on it, Colin. And of course, getting involved in that led to us performing Beren and Luthien in the 1990 Worldcon in The Hague. That led to us getting involved in costume making, and a journey from there that, from a Tolkien Society point of view, kind of finishes off with the Outer Lindolay, which again many of you will remember. So memories all the way through this. But I guess I kind of want to draw towards a close by thinking about the Tolkien Society as a source of fellowship. And I very deliberately, I had to throw Maggie's stuff out of this bag and swap them into another bag without her noticing. This bag came from the Inquendor Lustrum from 2016. And in the last few years, since the boys have left home, we've managed to get out to Inquendor for their event, we've managed to get out to Sweden for the Forodrim event, and begin to really appreciate the international aspects of Tolkien fandom. But above and beyond anything else, I think the Tolkien Society, more than anything to me, means fellowship. Fellowship and friendship. And the final exhibit in my exhibition is you lot. Because in this room, or elsewhere in the Tolkien Society, almost everybody who I would put on a list of friends, as opposed to family or colleagues or acquaintances, but everybody who I would call friends, pretty much I've met through the Tolkien Society, the Cambridge Tolkien Society, or Tolkien stuff. Many of you are in here, pleased and proud to have you, and I kind of want to finish with a toast to fellowship.
Where does Jeremy's hat fit in?
I forgot Jeremy's hat. I never added it to the prompts, that's the problem. So memories, Jeremy's hat, AGMs. How we will ever have a vote at an AGM again, I do not know, without Jeremy's hat. So there we go. Yes, sorry, thank you.
You better explain that.
I better explain. Well, certainly in my experience, all contested votes, certainly for committee posts, where it has been done as a paper ballot, the ballot papers have been collected in Jeremy's hat. to the extent that Jeremy's hat has been sent to AGMs without Jeremy before now, when it has been known that there will be a contested vote for a committee post. So I think, Jeremy, the hat must go to the archives in due course.
Okay, right.
Maybe sterilised first. I shall collect my